Lu Shang and Lan began to walk around the spaceship. Our boy started to silently listen to Lan's explanation. Thanks to this, he generally understood the structure of the star universe and that during long waits, he could enter the universe seed to cultivate. This turned out to be the same dream space he had experienced before. Lu Shang focused and went into the dream space. It was night, and now there were several golden moons floating in the sky. Lu Shang sat on the ground and energy from the energy crystal began to enter his body. Unlike before, on the silver bird, Lu Shang had a huge amount of high-density energy crystals as supply. Very soon, he reached 10,000 immortal cells, doubling his vital and physical power. Lan, who was standing behind, put his hand on his chin and fixed his attention on Lu Shang, causing his eyes to widen in surprise. He could not believe that Lu Shang had spent several million of his black crystals in a single month. He undoubtedly considered him the most talented warrior he had seen in the last 4,000 years, and this made Lu Shang's future generate immense expectations for him. Lan crossed his arms and with a serious gaze gave the order to his subordinate to continue supplying black energy crystals. He did not care about the costs. His subordinate placed a hand over his chest and nodded. At the same time, in the dream space, there was a red moon emitting a strange energy. Not long after, a powerful warrior carrying an axe as a weapon appeared in the sky and began staring at Lu Shang. The attention of our boy focused on him and his eyes began to shine with tranquility. While the warrior's eyes were shining with rage, he grabbed his axe tightly and began to descend forcefully toward our boy. Instead of panicking, our boy remained calm, but to his surprise, the warrior's attack was so fast that he had no time to react and cut his body in half. Our boy's eyes widened, in fear and confusion. He didn't know what was happening. The warrior was so powerful that he launched a slash of energy, which cut Lu Shang's planet in half as if it were a cake, destroying it into pieces. Our boy woke up and his eyes widened in surprise and fear. Lu Shang placed his hand on his chest, and with a serious gaze realized that this was the strength of a level 12 warrior, the strength of Xiao Lu's. He could not understand how someone known as the God of Wind, and clearly a speedrunner, could possess such enormous strength. While Lu Shang's eyes were shining with calmness, he began to gaze toward the ground and sank into his thoughts. His goal was clear: to defeat Xiao Lu's before reaching the Yamu star zone. Lu Shang focused and blue martial energy began to emerge from his body. Our boy returned to the dream space. He was standing with clenched fist, and behind him lay the lifeless corpse of Xiao Lu with a hole in his chest. After several days of arduous training and one day before arriving at the Yamu star zone, Lu Shang finally defeated Xiao Lu. Lu Shang focused and summoned a powerful ball of martial energy in his palm. By absorbing the primordial force of the new planet, he had strengthened himself at least more than 3 times. Several days later, Lan's spaceship arrived at the Federation Gathering Center of the Yamu Star Zone. The ship's ramp activated, and someone began to descend. With a smile, Lan extended his hand toward the futuristic city, welcoming our boy to the Yamu Federation. Lu Shang began to contemplate the city in silence. With an exhausted expression, Lu Shang began stretching his arms. Now that they had arrived, he asked what they were going to do now. With a serene gaze, Lan explained that first he would take him to register his legal identity as a stellar citizen. Without this registration, he would be an undocumented person, and in this place he couldn't even buy a basic meal, literally. He wouldn't be able to move forward even one step. Lu Shang put his hand near his mouth and began to yawn. He decided to let Lan take care of this. With a serene gaze, Lan began to gaze toward the sky and said that now Lu Shang owed him a favor. He began to stare at our boy, and his eyes started to shine with confidence, making it clear that he was the one who had found Lu Shang. The attention of our boy fixed on him, and his eyes widened in confusion and curiosity. Lu Shang perceived that Lan had achieved something with just a look, but he felt no hostility. However, this did not matter to him. After having defeated Chalice, he was sure that killing Lan was now only a matter of thought. It was daytime, and the sun was shining high above the city. Under guidance, Lu Shang entered the City Hall building to process his identity. A man with purple hair offered Lu Shang an identification card and with a kind smile informed him that his citizenship had been successfully registered. Lu Shang grabbed the identification card. It detailed his name, Lu Shang, his race, standard human, and his level 9. His new identity was third-level citizen of the Yamu star zone, and his home planet was Blue Planet A24862 of the White Mist star zone. He began to observe it carefully, and his eyes filled with surprise. With a curious gaze, he mentioned that he remembered Lan had said before that citizenship started from level 1, so he didn't understand how his could be level 3. The man extended his hand and, with a cheerful smile, explained to Lu Shang that he had been recommended by the law officer Lan, and because of this, his identity was different from that of an ordinary person. He clarified that the citizen level was related to power, talent, assets, and connections. Lu Shang's attention focused on this and his mind filled with curiosity. He couldn't believe that just with a recommendation, he could already reach level 3. This meant that he only needed to reach level 11 to become a stellar noble. With a serene expression, the man explained that the identity card contained 10 million black crystals, a gift from Mr. Carl, and Lu Shang could use them anywhere where stellar citizens resided. Upon hearing this, Lu Shang came out of his trance and his eyes widened in surprise and confusion. The amount seemed enormous to him. He remembered that among the red eyes they barely gathered a few tens of thousands, and yet Lan showed immense generosity from the beginning. Then he came to a conclusion. What he had obtained from the red eyes and their group could not be all. Their wealth, he realized that no one would keep all their money in their pockets. It was probably hidden in their identity cards. The man extended his hands toward the table and with a smile asked our boy to wait a moment. Lan was still discussing with Mr. Dodd, and he offered him some snacks to eat during the wait. Lu Shang came out of his thoughts, and his attention fixed on the man. He approached the table and grabbed a donut. Our boy sat down and took a bite of the donut. His eyes widened in surprise since the donut was very good. Lu Shang took out a bracelet and took another bite of the donut. This seemed like the perfect moment to eat while checking if he could find the identity cards that Red Eyes and the others had hidden in their storage bracelets. Lu Shang started eating without stopping and devoured all the donuts there were. Lu Shang grabbed another donut and took a bite, but then he put his hand on his throat and began to spit. He was confused as he almost broke a tooth. He spat out a blue cockroach which fell onto the plate. Our boy's attention fixed on it and his eyes filled with fear. He did not know where this stellar cockroach had come from. At that moment, Lu Shang's heart beat strongly. With a surprised gaze, he put his hand on his chest, and golden martial energy began to emerge from his body. He realized that his immortal cell number 1001 had just been born. Lu Shang grabbed the cockroach and began to observe carefully. His eyes widened with curiosity. He couldn't believe that it contained so much protein content. Without hesitating for a second, Lu Shang put the cockroach into his mouth and began to chew. According to him, it tasted like chicken. It was crunchy. At the same time, outside the room, someone began to shout, asking where Poppy was. A man with purple hair extended his hands and, with a nervous expression, explained to Miss Jojo that this was an exclusive area for VIP guests, and she could not enter in this way as it put them in a difficult situation. With a furious expression, she began to point to one side and questioned whether she was not also one of their VIP guests. She claimed to have seen Poppy enter there with her own eyes and therefore was sure that he was inside, demanding that they get out of the way. They began to argue, and upon hearing the commotion, Lu Shang's attention, who was eating, was drawn to them. and he became somewhat curious. While her eyes were shining with rage, she turned her back on the man, clenched her fist tightly, and began to move toward the VIP area. Seeing this, the man's eyes widened in fear. He reached out his hand and explained to her that she could not burst in like that. She didn't listen and stomped the ground forcefully. Upon hearing this, Lu Shang turned around, and his eyes widened in confusion. With a confident gaze, she began to point at Lu Shang with her finger, declaring that it had definitely been him who stole her poppy, since his body still had the smell that it had left. Lu Shang began to observe her in silence and started to sweat. He was confused, not knowing what was happening. This is the end of the video. If you guys want to see the next part,